and you know this from building businesses, right? Entrepreneurs traditionally hit a ceiling where we're kind of maxed out on the things that we can manage, right? I might be able to manage a team of 10. I might be able to manage an organization of 50. I might be able to manage a primary project and a hustle, maybe if I'm pretty good, right? The guys and the gals that can do 4, 5, 6 juggernaut entities and seem to sometimes maintain sanity. I think there's just a lot to learn there.
Entrepreneurs, are you ready? Because I'm excited to bring you someone who's worked across New Zealand, Singapore, the US, with over 20 years of experience helping businesses grow smarter and faster. He has experience also taking companies public, and we're going to learn all about how he does that, how he got to where he is today, and everything in between. So, Michael Haskell, welcome to That Entrepreneur Show.
Hey, Vincent, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, I'm excited. We're doing an early recording for me. He's across the world, 7 a.m. here, 7 p.m. there. And like I said, we've got a lot of real world lessons from scaling companies globally, taking them public, advising top executives, and so much more. So welcome back to That Entrepreneur Show. My name is Vincent A. Lancey, and I'm excited to bring another incredible entrepreneur your way. We've got a lot of great talking points to get to today, and I want to recommend that you stick around to the end, learn where to follow this guy, check out his companies because he is a great resource to have. And today's episode is brought to you by Coming Alive Podcast Production.com. We're about ready to dive in. Michael, let's go back in time. You know how we start. What led you to want to become an entrepreneur?
Right. Okay. So it was not an immediate thing for me. When I was a boy, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. When I got into college, for a little while, I thought I wanted to be a lawyer till I realized how much time they spent doing paperwork. And then I wanted to be an investment banker for a short period of time. When I got out of college, I actually did work as an analyst for a very short period of time in the very early 2000s. And I came to the conclusion that if I was going to create enough wealth to be able to have my time and my freedom, that I was going to need to be the boss. Back then I was thinking if I wanted to do this before 30 or 35, I needed to be my own boss. So I said, okay, well, how do I do that? Right? I didn't really know yet. I went about trying to figure it out.
And it seems that you've done just that. We often have these big goals for arbitrary age numbers like 30, right? When I'm in high school, I'm like, oh, by the time I'm 30, family, a couple houses, kids, car, and that's not the way the world works. But I can also resonate with you. I have a finance degree, MBA. I thought for the longest time I would be in the financial sector, but like you, our paths turned out to be different things. Now, from those incredible corporate experiences, what's a lesson learned that you were able to carry over to entrepreneurship, or a skill set that you were able to parlay into a successful entrepreneurial endeavor?
Right. Okay. So early on, one of my favorite skills was the outfit that I was with right out of college. It was a small group actually based out in Colorado. And it was so small that I was able to use some of my relationship management skills to kind of manage some of our client side engagement. But it was small enough where I was actually able to do some of the analysis stuff too on potential investments. Right. So I guess the biggest benefit from that experience was that it was such a small outfit that I was able to kind of sharpen my skills both in engaging with clients and kind of doing that quant, figure it out, what's a good way to go work. Whereas if I were in a larger outfit, I would have been typecast in one direction or the other. So I think that was probably the biggest benefit of not jumping immediately into entrepreneurship right out of college, though it wasn't long. It was probably only about 3 years. But, being able to further develop my skills on how to engage with the clients, as well as getting better at being able to go deep into analyzing companies, their P&Ls, their balance sheets, their markets that they service, what they could potentially be able to do in the future. I think those two skills actually really helped my entrepreneurial pathway, right? Because as you know, if you're going to go down the entrepreneurial path, you first have to assess where's a good place for me to build a business. Right. So you need kind of that outward looking, broadly speaking, macroeconomic view. You're like, okay, well, I wouldn't want to go sell, horses for transport, That wouldn't be the best business to get into. What's a good way to go? So having those skills is good. And then you also know as an entrepreneur, you're your first salesperson, right? You're doing the business development. You're calling on the clients. If you can't develop that side of those skills too, it's tough, right? So you really need to have at least a little bit of aptitude both ways.
And in the beginning, as you said, we're wearing all the hats, but as you start to gain momentum and some success, you said you want to delegate. And that's a great point because I know you spent a lot of time advising top executives. Of course, that's one area I'm sure you cover. What are some other common, not mistakes, but areas of improvement needed that you come across when you coach these incredibly successful top executives?
The biggest thing that almost all of us make is that we just don't know what we don't know, right? So like if you're in a brand new town and you go into a restaurant and these guys specialize in cheesesteaks, and you order the crab cake, you don't know any better, right? They specialize in cheesesteaks. They have a crab cake on the menu. You ordered it thinking it'd be great, and maybe it just wasn't, right? And a lot of business builders, to use that analogy, they're good at certain components, right? Maybe they're really good on the tools. Maybe they're really good technologist, or maybe they're an immaculate salesperson. And what they tend to do is they tend to build their organization with a, I guess, bias towards those skills, the skills they have best. And where they really struggle is to kind of figure out the skills that maybe are missing. And I think that that's something I've seen across the board, especially in younger entrepreneurs that are building their first or their second business. Help them assess where they're strong and perhaps where they have a few gaps, and then help them to close those gaps is an experience that every young entrepreneur I've met has had.
And you said it before, you don't know what you don't know. And I can certainly resonate with that and relate to that. And in the beginning, especially, I wouldn't call them failures. I call them lessons learned because without knowing what we don't know, you have to get a way to get in there. So I absolutely love that. But something you've also noticed is that there's a key separator here why aligning profit with purpose creates long term success and resilience, not just focusing on profit. Let's dive into that.
Okay, so first of all, at least for me, I only want to get involved with businesses that do good, right? So that's kind of getting that purpose right. I mean, if the entrepreneur or your group of founders don't have the right integrity, skip the project, find a different group. If you're not building something or providing a service that helps the world, skip the project, find another project, right? So you definitely want to make sure that the quality of your people and the quality of the purpose or the vision is aligned with you. And if it's not something that's going to be of value to your long-term goals, skip it. There are a lot of good opportunities out there. People can waste a lot of time getting involved in the wrong projects or with the wrong partners. I tell a lot of the young entrepreneurs that I come in and mentor now, Vincent, that actually the quality of your business partners is probably more important than the quality of your business idea, right? Everybody thinks, oh, it's the idea, it's the idea. It's actually not. I mean, if you've got great people and you've got really good operators on the tools that know how to run and operate businesses, they can take an average idea and make it successful, right? But if you get around a bunch of dirt bags, man, they will take a fantastic idea and they'll run it into the ground. So getting the people right, getting the purpose right, getting the vision right is paramount.
And I think you said everything perfect there. And in the beginning, at least for me, you're so excited about you just want to go, 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 go. But there are things like the purpose. What are some other things you think businesses need to establish at the beginning because it makes things a lot harder if they don't have it done as they start to scale?
If you want to go to just the nuts and bolts of business, get into unit level economics right. The whole adage that for the last kind of 15 to 20 years in certain times over those economic cycles, and in certain sectors, it's been okay to build a product or a service that you have to sell for a loss in order to scale your revenue. And that's okay. And VCs will reward you for that. I think that's all based on a false premise, right? I think from a nuts and a bolts in a business, you first have to prove that you have a business model that works from a unit level economic standpoint. Once you've evidenced that, and you don't have to have evidenced that outside of one geographic location, it can be Tampa, it can be South Jersey, it can be Western Ohio. It doesn't matter where that one place is, but you need to evidence that your business will work in one place and it makes money in one place. Now, once you've done that, then it's a scaling conversation, but you're scaling off the back of really strong, sound fundamentals. Some of these guys get in trouble because they start scaling with other people's money before they've got strong, sound underlying fundamentals. And I think that's an error.
And I think it is a huge error that a lot of us don't mean to make, but we do make because, again, entrepreneurship, there's no blueprint or textbook. I say that all the time. You have to talk to people like Michael, build your network. I've learned over my experiences that people may not be in the position to buy something, but if you have the courage to ask for some help, ask for some guidance, more often than not, I've experienced a positive experience there. You have to be willing to ask because you don't know what you don't know. And now that we focused a little bit on areas to start, I mentioned our guest of honor today. He's scaled companies across New Zealand, Singapore, the US, and he's even streaming in from a different part of the world now. Entrepreneurs can apply this no matter what their market size is when they scale, but with help from people like you. So, what advice can you give us if we're an aspiring entrepreneur tuning in today that wants to hit that global stage?
Building with the type of lifestyle or type of exit that you want in mind, right? So for me, I didn't want to get rich to swim around in gold coins. For me, I wanted freedom. I didn't need a vault with a billion gold coins in it, right? Some people are different, right? Some people do. They want to just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. What I wanted to do is I wanted to build my early businesses that would allow for my freedom of movement and my freedom of choice, right? So establish strong enough cash flow streams that will allow you to go wherever you want, eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, and have a nice underpinning income. If you like that, that's a good way to go. If you'd rather, take the chance of 100 million or more exit with a maybe 10 to 15% chance of that kind of exit, or an 85% chance of, six tenths of not a lot, that also works for some people too, right? So I think trying to figure out, first of all, what you want your business to be able to do for you, right? So, first is get the people right, get the purpose right. And then what's the business going to do for me? Do I want to be able to be a political influencer? Do I want to have a brand like Meta? Do I want to do that? Or do I want to be able just to kind of come and go as I please and wherever in the world I want to go and have enough underlying income to provide for that? Getting that right, I think, is important. The next thing is if and when you do take external investment, I am a big believer in bootstrapping because it requires fiscal discipline, right? So we go back to that unit level economics conversation. When you're spending your money and the money of other shareholders, your other founders, right? Maybe a little bit of friends and family, a little bit of small money from friends and family, you have got to be very fiscally disciplined. Now, as soon as you take that big check from somebody else, all of a sudden, sometimes that fiscal discipline can go out the window. So, one of the things that I try to caution when we do get involved with projects that do take external VC investment is that don't stop managing the P&L like you're a bootstrap business, right? Like the VCs are going to be on you. Okay, go grow top line revenue, go, 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 go. But you can't get so carried away that you're insolvent in 12 months either, right? And in some instances, it's a tactic for the VCs because when you run out of money, you come back to them, then you're no longer making the terms of the deal, you're taking their terms of the deal, right? So sometimes they don't necessarily mind when you run out of cash as long as you'll take more of their money and give up more of your company. So it's always smarter to maintain fiscal discipline.
I love that. And another area that's easier said than done, but you just brought something up a few times: VC, VC, VC. What should an entrepreneur do for their business if they are preparing for their first meeting with a VC or another type of capital meeting?
Right. Okay. So getting your financial components of your business in line makes a lot of sense. Depending upon what kind of excess cash the business is putting out, even having annual audits is not a terrible idea. It would be considered best practice business hygiene to do that. Obviously, a lot of startups can't fork that cash out, and I get that. So that's a nice to have, right? If you can get external audits done and you can keep your books in order and you can have management reporting done on a monthly basis, that's a really good sign that you're paying close attention to your business, how it's operating. You've got good internal controls in place. You're allowing other people to take a look at your business that are supposed to be coming from an objective third party view. Those are all really, really good signs. But the biggest thing that you can continue to do, obviously, is grow that top line revenue while maintaining profitability, right? If you can continue to double or triple revenue on an annual basis while staying in the black, 50 grand in the black, right? We don't need to be making millions or tens of millions of dollars, but show that you can both scale a business at the same time of staying profitable. You put yourself in a fantastic position.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, remaining profitable. There's highs and lows in every business. You have to know what's best for your business. Now that I've been doing this for a little bit, we celebrated 10 years in entrepreneurship. And I know where my slow months are going to be for my target customers. And now being aware of that, being mindful of doing 12 months revenue in 8 months essentially is just part of the growing pains that you don't know. But I know you can also add value here to how to stay adaptable and resilient through setbacks like that, pivots and market changes. If you could help out our audience as we're winding down.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the best ways, if you're talking about the business operator, the chief executive or the COO or the founder owner, right? The guy or the gal that is ultimately responsible for the money. One of the best things to do is to try to maintain as much flexibility in your contracting as you possibly can. For example, a client can stop paying you immediately, right? There is no government on the planet that's going to tell them they have to keep spending money with you, right? But if you've made a bad hire or two or three or four, trying to offload that bad hire can be time consuming and costly, right? You got yourself in a position where your revenue, your client side can go away overnight, right? Hopefully it doesn't, but it can.
It
And
can.
there's nobody that can stop them, right? You're locked in, you're contractually obliged, and could potentially be punished if you let your staff go too quickly, right? So one of the ways to go around that, like what I like to do when I'm building businesses is I try to put my stars on salary, and I try to have anybody not a star, even if they're an aspiring star or a role player, I want them to be on contract if I'm in a part of the world where I can get away with that. And then one even better than that is a contract in another jurisdiction, right? So basically, where the terms of the contract, you're an independent contractor, you're in Sri Lanka, I'm in Georgia, my business is in Georgia, the state of. If my business goes upside down and I have to cut costs rapidly, I can say, you've done a great job. I'll bring you back on as quickly as I possibly can, but I can't afford to go insolvent or go bankrupt because I'm carrying your salary. So you should be able to cut salaries as fast as your revenue can go away, if that makes sense. You want to be able to stay as nimble as possible. And that's really hard to do if you don't start getting creative about where and how you hire.
And I think that's an incredible lesson learned. And I have team members in 3 different countries, of course, including the US, and different labor laws and salaries are in different place. Whereas these ups and downs, these peaks and valleys go, you have to be able to weather the storm to stay in business. So I absolutely love how you said that. And now I'm really excited here, Michael, because you really have delivered a lights out episode. I believe it's Miko who put us in touch. So big shout out to Miko. Known him a bunch of years now. Definitely connect with Miko. He brought a lot of great guests. He's actually coming on the show as well later this year. We're waiting to get that done. So now, Michael, if you can pick any entrepreneur, dead or alive, to sit down with and speak to, who would you choose?
Okay, so just in the current world, I think Elon Musk, while he's polarizing, he just brings more to the table than anybody else out there. I think Jeff Bezos is second, but I think there's a bit of a gap in just his ability to innovate. And you know this from building businesses, right? Entrepreneurs traditionally hit a ceiling where we're kind of maxed out on the things that we can manage, right? I might be able to manage a team of 10. I might be able to manage an organization of 50. I might be able to manage a primary project and a hustle. Maybe if I'm pretty good, right? The guys and the gals that can do 4, 5, 6 juggernaut entities and seem to sometimes maintain sanity. I think there's just a lot to learn there.
And now let's delve deeper. Where would the meeting go down if you could pick the location spot to?
That's interesting. I'd go down to check out SpaceX, the campus outside Austin. That would be cool. I haven't been down there. I would like to see how apparently it's deeply efficient, city within a city. I would love to check that out for sure.
Austin's also on my bucket list of places to go here domestically, of course, speaking. And Michael, absolute rock star performance. Miko, thank you for bringing this gentleman to the show. I'd now like to ask you, Michael, where can we get in touch with you? Where can we find more about everything you do online?
Okay, cool. So my LinkedIn profile is good. If I can be of service, helping you to get more efficient in some of your human resources, helping you outsource some of your staff requirements, check out the Navitas Group, which is our Singapore-based consulting company, and we provide staff from all around Asia to businesses in the U.S.
Thank you for sharing that, everyone. Be sure to connect with Michael. He's doing great work. And my name is Vincent A. Lancy. Be sure to subscribe to stay current with our community of entrepreneurs. We're on all social media channels as well. I look forward to keeping this show going. Another lights out performance from an entrepreneur, this time from Michael Haskell, a worldwide entrepreneur. Michael, thank you for the time.
Awesome, Vincent. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I would love to hear your feedback. What did you love? What do you want to see more of? Are there any questions you would like me to ask the guests who come on the show? This show is not possible without you, the amazing listeners, so please email us at podcastsbylancy@gmail.com and let us know what you think. We'll also feature you on a later show. Please remember to subscribe to stay current with our amazing community of guests who will continue to come on the show, sprinkled in with solo episodes from me, Vincent A. Lancy. With that, I look forward to introducing more shows to you each and every week. And with that, we're signing off today. Enjoy the episodes and make it a great day ahead.